welcome to First 7 Inch Club episode 243. First 7 Inch Club is a podcast where we dig up 7 inches from the past within the realms of hardcore punk and metal and discuss whether or not they're worth being remembered. We also provide facts and trivia that we get from the internet and our own personal experiences. We do our own research on the show, so sometimes we get things wrong, and you just got to deal with that because, we only have a finite amount of internet to use these days, and it's all wrong. Everything on the internet is wrong. So, you just count your blessings that we have anything right. So I'm Mike, and with me is Scott.
I was just talking to Mike off air because Platt's Pat finally got through to us.
Oh.
He left us a comment saying, I keep forgetting to comment, but here's the Plattsburgh scene report. Mostly hardcore kids in their 20s playing at one of two different bars, one fun aging thrash guy band that plays infrequently, and roughly 50 various tribute bands roll through the area per year. The most exciting First 7 Inch Club adjacent thing I can report is that I hang out often with Keith from Dead Guy at a local brewery and talk metal and hardcore. Plattsburgh rules. And I wrote, Keith lives in Plattsburgh? Why? And he wrote, he actually lives in a much, much smaller town adjacent to Plattsburgh because he knows the truth that most are afraid to admit. Furthest north, New York is the best New York. That's what he said. And then just before we went live here, I decided to do a Hail Mary lookup of Platt's place and found out that I was right. That did exist. It's where, if you're from the area, it's where Buca de Beppo was.
Ooh.
That's who they sold to, was the Buca de Beppo. And it was two brothers, Peter and Jeff Platt, and they bought it from their parents. It used to be a dairy, and they bought it to I guess they founded it to a deli or something like that. And it was supposed to be, it was the area's only New York style deli at the time. It closed in 1999. And then the dudes, the Peter Platt, the last brother, died in 2019, not that long ago. So I could have gone to his funeral with like a nice big, tongue sandwich, la lengua, and just appreciated him right up close, but I didn't know about it until just now. I should think of these things more in more timely fashion.
We got a Patreon. It's patreon.com/First7Inch Club. We're going to be covering another episode or another issue of Metal Maniacs, continuing our 1991 exploration of Metal Maniacs. I think this might be the final, thank God, 1991 issue of Metal Maniacs, because this is probably the worst one yet. So,
yeah. Unbelievable how they just did the same thing for 3 issues in a row, basically. I mean, not to spoil it, but
I think it's
4 issues in a row.
Yeah.
That there was nothing. I mean, that makes sense to me because, if you bought Hit Paraders all that year, it was probably Poison in every issue and Motley Crue in every issue. Yeah. So I guess that makes some kind of sense. But Jesus Christ, there's so much thrash metal.
Yeah.
And they just covered the same 6 bands over and over.
So give us your money to hear that after that glowing review.
Hey, the episode will be good if the issue's not good. You can count on us.
Yeah. So patreon.com/First7Inch Club. You can also reach out to us at First7Inch Club at gmail.com or at our Instagram at First7Inch Club. I just want to say up front, if you're probably looking at what we're doing tonight, His Arrow's Gone. And again, I'm on my record-ripping hiatus, but I'm going to admit up front, this is a planned attack now. I plan on, for this episode and at least the next couple episodes, to bring out some heavy hitters, just to see, because it's definitely drummed up a lot more engagement on the internet. I don't know if it's drummed up a lot more clicks, but I would like some more clicks. So, and I think me and Scott both, even separately and stuff we do, have this horrible drawback of wanting to make things more difficult than we should, and we should have been doing this from day one. We should have just been doing home runs since day one, and we would have had 35 million followers by now, or listeners by now.
Yep.
And we would have been rich. But now we're starting at episode 240. We decided to just take the easy way out.
Pivot. Yeah. Big sellout pivot.
And do easy records. So yeah, I mean, if it stays the same, if the same amount of listeners stay the same, I'm just gonna go back to weird records. But because that brings me more joy. But I'm gonna try some heavy hitters for the next month or so to see how it goes.
Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold.
All the heavy hitters.
All the heavy hitters. Those are two bands I can think of.
Dude, when I sat down and I was like, okay, I got to plan out the next 3 episodes, I was like, I can't think of any other bands. Like, His Arrow's Gone is the last one. I was like, that's the last band that we haven't covered yet, is His Arrow's Gone. So
that's it.
But now,
the last band.
I thought of a couple more, so we'll have a couple more. But the only other thing I have to talk about is a weird thing It's baseball related, so Scott could just tune out. Now he could put his microphone on mute.
Okay.
But no, actually, first I did go to a baseball game last week by the time you hear this, and it happened again. I was going to my seat, very good seat. I lucked out. Like, you always see those ads where they're like, go to a game or a concert for $5, and that doesn't really happen unless those tickets were already $5. You don't hit big on some, big playoff event and wait to the last minute and get it for $5. That doesn't happen.
Right.
But it kind of, I didn't pay like $5. It was still like a reasonable price for a ticket, but I got very good tickets. It was somebody like, I just clicked on the app the second some guy was panicking and trying to sell his ticket for 90% less than it was worth. So I had very good seats. I was very excited. I start walking down to them. They're down. That means they're good because you're walking down instead of up. And I get down to the second row, and I look, and it's completely empty except for the biggest giant ogre man I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I bet my seat is going to be right next to his. And it was right next to his. We're the only two people in the row. I mean, it was rainy on Monday. So they like, once I got in the arena or the ballpark, they like postponed the game a half an hour as soon as I got in. I was like, you motherfucker, I can't even leave now. Like, I'm stuck here. So I was like, I might as well go sit down and see what it's like. And so that's why it was empty when we first sat down, and I was like, I can't believe this. And he was just like, he's wearing Crocs, and he's like, he had visible dandruff. He was just like a real ogre of like a nerd guy, and taking up so much space because he can't help it. He's gigantic.
Right.
He didn't stand up for the national anthem, which I give him credit for because that's tough.
Cool.
I stand up just because like it gives you a reason to stand up, and those seats kind of hurt. So
get a little exercise, get a little air in your lungs.
And then, of course, coming in right when the game was starting is the man that was going to be sitting on my other side the whole time, who is at least 7.5 feet tall. At least
big pun. It was
no
rapper big pun.
He wasn't fat. At least he was pretty thin for a 7.5 foot man, honestly. And he was like older and more mature, so he like had some courtesy and like scrunched his body as much as he could. But it was still like, how's this fucking happen to me every single time? So I don't know. It sucked. But anyways. What I really wanted to talk about was baseball related is Scott on his Party Shark Records account. Go follow Party Shark Records if you don't on Instagram. Even if you can't shop at the store, Scott puts out at least one quality video a week that pretty much puts every other influencer, content creator content to shame. Scott puts work into it. It's good.
Thank you.
It's pretty amazing. And last week he did a little segment that I don't remember the name, so I'm just going to call it "Who Are These People?" I think he called it "Who Are These People?"
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Yes,
it was guys I've heard of but never heard was the name that I had come up with.
And he covered a bunch of guys he has a bunch of records of, and how he never heard them, and they all turn out to be like folk guys, like pretty much. I think
blues rock, more like blues rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're on that they're in that tier of you had to be there music. Like we have no reason to know these guys. There's no fucking reason.
Right.
So this is something I've been thinking about for months, and I just never want to do it on the show because I'm very bad at actually giving out like real information. Like I'm good at making jokes and doing funny stuff, but like I can't really like be like, this is the guy that blah 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 blah. But so anyways, I'm gonna try. It's gonna be bad, but this guy's Wikipedia. You can look it up yourself. But so the Chicago Cubs, when they win a game at home, they play this song called "Go Cubs Go," and it's something that's been on and off their like end of the game victory song since I think 1984. It was off for a long time, but I think they brought it back in 2016 when they won the World Series. I think they brought it back when they went to the playoffs. And I didn't know this at the time. I don't really ever stay at the end of Cubs games, and up until this season, I haven't really had access to watch them on the local channel because you have to pay extra for it. But now I steal it, so I could watch it all the time. So I haven't heard this song a lot, but this season I've heard it like a good amount of times, and it's like it's kind of like Paul Simon-y. It's just like the chorus is very catchy. The chorus just goes, "Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go! Hey Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. And that's the chorus. There's more to the song, but it's like it's a real, it's, you know, like those guys you're talking about. It's a real of its time type of song, and has that sound to it where you're like, this guy kind of sounds divorced. It has that kind of like upbeat tone. And I'm like, what's the fucking deal with this? Because like, there's no way the song was made in the 2000s or the 2010s. Like, this has to be a legitimately old song, but it's so cheesy and like on the nose that I can't believe this is like their victory song. Right. So I was like, I gotta look this up and see what the deal is. So it turns out this song, the Go Cubs Go song, was written by a man named Steve Goodman. Steve Goodman was a folk musician who didn't really have much luck being like a solo folk musician, but he had two big claims to fame outside of the Go Cubs Go. He had two big claims to fame. He wrote a song called City of New Orleans that Arlo Guthrie covered, and then a million other people covered it. Like literally a million people have covered this song. They have turned it into different languages. They have just changed everything about it, but he still made money every single time somebody cover that song. Another song he wrote was a song that was kind of like tongue-in-cheek, making fun of country music, called You Never Even Call Me By My Name, which David Allen Coe took and made his own song and won a Grammy from.
Wow.
Steve Goodman co-wrote that song with somebody else, and that guy was so embarrassed that, like, you know, their on-the-nose country song was actually covered by a country artist and won a Grammy, that he wanted nothing to do with it. He wanted no credit. So Steve Goodman took all the money, of course, and he bought that guy a jukebox with some of the money they made off of You Never Even Call Me By My Name. But unfortunately, that's the good stuff. It gets sad. So Steve Goodman, very young in life, in college, he was diagnosed with leukemia. So he was like, fuck it, I'm just going to make music. I'm not going to go to school anymore because I'm going to die. So, you know, he just, you know, pursued his folk dream. And the two things I said, you know, were things that happened along the way. He got married, you know, all this stuff. And he wrote a song. I don't have the name pulled up. He wrote some song called like, I don't have this. Yeah. It's called something like, A Dying Cubs Fan's Last Request, because back in the 80s and 70s. Yeah. Back in the 70s or 80s, you know, the Cubs are really, really bad. So he wrote the Dying Cubs Fans Last Request, and it's kind of like, you know, critical of the team and stuff. And they would play it on the radio, and I think the you know, the Cubs brass fucking hated it. They were like, you know, you can't, I hate this song, fuck. And WGN, which was this TV station, the radio station that the Cubs were on the time, were on at the time, were like, why don't you actually write like a song for the Cubs? So he wrote the Go Cubs Go song. So this was, again, kind of tongue-in-cheek. He wrote this like very overly cheerful, on the nose song, and they were like, that's great, we're going to use it. And so they used it, but unfortunately for Steve, the first year they used it, which I believe was 1984, don't quote me on that, this is off the dome, but that was the year the Cubs finally made the playoffs again. And he was set to, like, you know, sing the Go Cubs Go song and the anthem at the game, but he was in the hospital and he died days before that happened. And I think he had like
dying Cub fan's last dream.
Yeah,
it's got to be. Is his dream to see the Cubs win in the song? It's got to be. That's got to be the hook of the song. So he was a dying Cubs fan getting his wish, and it was just a little bit too late. He
legitimately died. And they instead of Steve singing it, it was October 2nd. He was supposed to sing the national anthem at the first postseason Cubs game since 1945, and he died. And his friend Jimmy Buffett filled in for him and dedicated it to him. Yeah. So very interesting life. Wow. Very, very interesting. And, you know, this was influence for me to finally talk about this on the show. But this was when Scott put up that "Who Are These People" segment. I was just like, man, that's like Steve Goodman. I got to finally talk about it. So if you hear a weird song that sounds like a divorced guy singing some upbeat weird song, look him up. He probably has an interesting history, and Steve Goodman is one of those people.
It's probably for the best that he didn't get to sing that anthem, because if he was sick, it was going to sound like shit.
Yeah.
It was going to be a bad anthem. He would have been booed.
Yeah.
So, dying was the better option. But it is pretty sad. I was looking to see if he had any connection to Al Cooper. I can't find one. I want him to be part of the Cooperverse.
Yeah,
I'm building it out. This is what also happens is every time I make one of those videos and I admit that I don't know some guy, someone completely organically comes in and goes, "Ooh, Al Cooper." Like that is, I swear to God that someone came in and who's the other guy? I can't believe I'm blanking out his name, but the other guy that I was in that video, he's like, "Oh, it's the guitarist from Bob Dylan's band," and then I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have this chat. We're gonna talk about this now," and I punished that guy for a full 5 minutes, telling him about the Cooperverse. There's a micro first 7-inch club effect taking place at Party Shark Records every time I mention it.
Okay, before we get to what we have to talk about, we're going to talk about our friends at stateofmindrecordings.com. Stateofmindrecordings.com is a website on the internet. It's also a record label and a distro, and they sell old records and new records, and old records that have become new records, and they sell them all for very cheap prices, along with the cheapest shipping in the game, $5 flat rate domestic shipping. You cannot beat that. Get as much shit as you want and only pay $5 for it. I like to feature something they're selling on the website every week. You can go buy it or go check out some other stuff while you're there. And he is having a sale right now. There's a sale going on. It's not everything. It just has some sale items. But one of those sale items is local to Albany Schenectavoids, a now broken up band, I believe. Their cassette tape attaining new levels of high, which sounds great.
Yeah,
it's only $350. Yeah. That's, I mean, you're losing out not buying this for $350. That's chump change. You can find that on your couch. So if you're a cassette guy, I tried to be a cassette guy a few years ago, and now I just have like 30 cassettes where I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with these? So I'm not really a cassette guy. I just have them all in a box. But if you're a cassette guy and still buy cassettes, Schenectavoids were pretty cool. So check them out, $350. And he has a bunch of other tapes there for really cheap. And if you really like the Schenectavoids, not on sale but cheap enough, is their LP Void Beyond the Pines, which is only $15.95, which is well under the going rate for LPs these days. So yeah, go get the whole entire Schenectavoids discography if you feel like it.
Yeah, I don't understand where they find the artists for this stuff, because they get the Schenectavoids were punching well above their weight in terms of art direction.
Yeah.
If you know the Schenectavoids, if you know the people personally, I'm not to be rude, but they make flyers because it's Jay Crack. He makes flyers for his bands, for his shows, and they're not like, they're fine. They're flyers, but they're nothing special. But his Schenectavoids albums are awesome.
Yeah.
The Void Beyond the Pines is a great, like, kind of, I don't know, like pop art kind of cat with his brain coming out. Every shirt they made, everything I saw that they ever made had like a cool, like, stoner cartoon from another city, not Schenectady, not Albany, like Troy. None of our cities don't do this. Maybe they do now because I'm old. Maybe young people are good at art now, but we never had shit like this. And these guys have tapped into some stream of art majors who are producing really good stoner stuff. Speaking of I've had the $5 footlong song stuck in my head. Now it's back because I'm talking about these $5 shipping. And I was wondering what you get. Can you still get a $5 footlong? Probably not. It's probably like a $15 footlong right now, right?
No, sometimes they have a deal of the day, but I think that's still like $6. But if you're in Canada, if we have any Canadian listeners out there, let me know if you hit up that Subway for that sub dog. Because I want
sub dog.
Yeah, I want to know what your experience is with the sub dog, which is just a hot dog that fits inside of a foot-long Subway roll. So I don't know why they only release this in Canada, but I need to know your experiences with it.
I just want to hold that thing and flop it around, wave it at people, wave the floppy hot dog at people. So at top of the page for me today is a record called "It Is Finished" by the band Harmonic Cross. And I just like that set of words. I thought that sounds badass. It Is Finished by Harmonic Cross. It sounds really cool. And it's got like kind of a grim looking cover that is very clearly a dead person. It's kind of like, it looks almost like a, some 1890s photo of Jesse James or something like that. It just looks like some funeral dead guy. And the description says, debut LP by Harmonic Cross featuring members of Bleach Everything, City of Caterpillar, Iron Reagan, Mammoth Grinder, Highness, and so many others. This album functions as a conceptual soundtrack to an actual unexplained true crime event in Adelaide, Australia, commonly referred to as Somerton Man. So Somerton Man is pretty interesting, mostly because of when it happened, because it wouldn't be interesting now. Like if it's just a guy who died on a beach. And he was, and like, because life was slower in the 50s or whenever, people have been talking about this for a while. So there's a guy who died on the beach who was dressed to the nines, like impeccable suit, haircut, everything. But he was a whole puzzle, like a whole like alternate reality game in a guy. He had removed all identifying markings and tags and everything from his clothing. Any damage that he made doing that, he repaired with this weird orange wax thread that he was carrying. And they found him slumped over with like a half-smoked cigarette. And he had a scrap of paper in his pants with the words "Tamam Shud" typed in a weird font, and that means it is finished in some language or whatever. And then they later found his suitcase, which is like a whole other puzzle. It is like, it's fully from like a Myst game or like some escape room thing. It was a ridiculous suitcase full of weird clues, like staged. Fuck you, man. Like, what you got? Your little red slippers, all the weird shit that was in there. He had a little piece of lead in there to hide some weird knife that he was trying to smuggle or something like that. It's a weird thing. And so, like I said, in busier times, this wouldn't have made the news for more than a few days. This is Cold War era Australia, and everyone thinks he was a spy or something like that, and that he poisoned himself with a mystery poison that was undetectable. And of course, maybe not a lot was going on in Australia at the time. Who knows? But people have been obsessed about this guy for the whole stretch of time since then. Like, there has never been a time where people weren't thinking about this guy and trying to figure it out up until now. Like, just not that long ago, someone authorized exhuming that body and studying it, and they think they've ID'd him, but they're still not sure. It's that in 2022 they finally like started trying to ID this guy with like DNA and stuff like that. So it's a fun story, interesting to look up. And as I said, these are all noisy hardcore guys, like screamo guys, and they've collaborated on this record to make a gentle atmospheric ambient record with no vocals, no drums, just gentle ambient soundscapes. I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure what went wrong. Maybe they forgot to put a few layers on the record. I don't know why multiple guys were involved. You mean, one guy could have pressed these buttons, but here we are. So check out It Is Done. That's what Tamam Shud translates to by the band Harmonic Cross. Cool band name, cool album name, but check it out.
There you have it, stateofmindrecordings.com. So now we can talk about what we're here to talk about, and that is His Hero Is Gone and their 7-inch The Dead of Night in 8 movements from 1996 on, is that really right? 96 on Prank Records. Yeah, 15 Counts of Arson was 97. I thought it was much earlier. Okay, so yeah, it's from 1996. Not as impressive anymore. Forget it. Episode's canceled. I thought this was older. Episode's canceled.
I thought this was 87. This is
96. These guys are played out already. But yeah, His Hero's Gone. Obviously, if you've listened to the Tragedy episode, I gushed about them a lot. They were kind of a life-changing band for me. Mm-hmm. They came from Memphis, and I think at some point moved to Portland, or maybe that was after. Maybe that was after His Hero's Gone. But this is their first 7-inch. They put this out, and then they put out a couple LPs. They had a couple splits. They had the Fool's Gold 7-inch, which I believe was just older. I think that might have been older material anyways. I can't remember now. But and The Plot Thickens, which is credited as an EP, even though it's kind of an LP. So, and they pieced out, and basically a few of the guys at the time formed Tragedy and became much, much, much more famous.
Yeah.
And, I still don't understand that. They played weaker music, but it was more palatable music. So I guess it makes sense. I was not on the His Hero Is Gone train when this 7-inch came out. I started with 15 Counts of Arson. So those are the first two things they put out. I think they had a number thing going on, and they were like, we got to stop that. We got to stop naming the records after how many songs are on the record, because it's dumb. We did this twice already, so we're going to stop. But yeah, I was in the Tune-In record store one day, and I saw the cover of 15 Counts of Arson. I was like, this looks fucking cool as hell. This is a cool name, cool band name, cool record name. I'm going to buy this. And I was at the Tune-In record shop was inside the Tune-In store, or the Tune-In club. So this is during a show. I just bought this, and I remember going home that night and putting it on and just being like, holy shit, this is like the craziest thing I ever heard. So it wasn't until like much later that we found out that there was actually a first 7-inch, and that was this. This is The Dead of Night in 8 movements. And I think at that time, I think my friend bought it, and we listened to it, and I was like, it's not as good as 15 Counts of Arson. So I never really thought about it after that. I never owned it. I might have had like a dub of it on a tape, but I never physically owned the actual 7-inch, but I never really thought much of it because I was like, I already have this. Then Monuments to Thieves came out not much later, and I was just like, they already have 2 perfect records. I don't need this, kind of blueprint 7-inch of what they were trying to do. So I just kind of forgot about it up until this week, where I was like, let's dig this out. And I should credit, I believe her name is Dawn. A listener, Dawn. She's from Canada, mate. Dawn, have you had the sub dog? If you're listening to this episode, let me know if you've had the sub dog yet. But she was one of the people that sent the Brothers Keeper thing that they got back together, and she's like, you guys should do an episode on like a good band to get back together after 20 years. And she was like, you should do His Hero Is Gone. And I was like, I've never even thought of that, and that is a great idea. Let's do His Hero Is Gone. So here we are, we're doing it. So to get into these guys, we've already covered 2 of these guys on the tragedy episode. So hopefully Scott still has his notes, because I never take them. So, but Todd Burdett is like the main guy. He's the guitarist, the vocalist. He was also in Death Threat, not the Connecticut Death Threat. He was in Cop Out. He's in Call the Police. He's in that band Nightfell, which I believe we did talk about in the tragedy episode. And War Cry and Severed Head of State. Severed Head of State was a band I was pumped on, because I think that was like the first post His Hero Is Gone band, and I was like, oh, this isn't as good. But he's also in Hellshock too. But yeah, I mean, this guy is pretty much known for still, I guess, Tragedies doesn't make music any. I really don't know. I think they're one of those bands that's mysterious, and you never know when they're going to pop back up. So I don't know how active a Tragedy is, but I believe, at least up until a couple years ago, Nightfell was still active. So I don't know. Maybe they called it quits too. But I went to their Instagram. It looks like it's They had a show in, like, I think 2020 or a few months ago. So I think that he's just up to doing Nightfell now.
I found an old interview about Tragedy. He said he just works someplace where people don't know anything about punk. They don't know how he does what he does. But unfortunately, one of the better places to learn anything about more contemporary Todd that I could find is the Analog Attack interview. Same thing I talked about previously, but I didn't watch it back then because I don't really like Analog Attack. Watching his channels, he is such a brutal. He is on the verge of being like the Chris Farley interview guy, where he's just like, good, cool, awesome. And like as soon as he asks somebody a question, he starts nodding. He'd be like, so did you like that record? And he's like nodding and go, yep. It is tough to watch. And people, you can see that people get stymied by it. They like look for a second and they're like, are we having a Skype problem? Are you asking a question from 10 minutes ago? But, yeah, so he does an interview on there, and I'm not going to get too into it because mostly they just talk about records, but he does talk about working at a bar. So I assume that's, it's a few years ago. I assume he still works at a bar. What I thought was interesting is that when he does talk about records, he talks about things like more matter of factly than I would think a guy like this. Like I would think that, I don't know why, but I would expect the guys who basically invented this genre to be kind of mysterious about it and not talk about it as though there was anything mechanical to it. And it's not. He's like, oh yeah, I like this band because they tune down like we do. He just like talks about stuff really normally. And he also said that he started doing Nightfell because he started getting the vibe he wanted to do like darker metal stuff again. And Tragedy doesn't really do that. And he tried to do it with that Darker Days Ahead, or he tried to make it like evil again. And the other fellows were like, nope. And he's like, yeah, they just want to play hardcore. He goes, I do too. I like hardcore too. I don't have a problem with that, but they wanted to just be plain old hardcore band, and I wanted to do all this evil shit. So I decided to form Nightfell, and that's where all my evil shit goes, and that's where I do. That's where all my ideas are right now, because that's what I'm into. So yeah, I mean, even he kind of agrees with us that Tragedy's just there for the people. It's just it's their pop hardcore band.
Next up is Todd's brother, Paul Burdett, who played drums for His Hero Is Gone and then would go on to play drums for Tragedy. He was also in Call the Police, Criminal Damage, Death Threat, Face Down, and Well Away. He's not in Nightfell, though, so I have no info on what Paul's up to now. His Instagram's private. So yeah, these guys aren't really up on the internet. Like, they're on the internet, but they're not up on the internet. They're not posting. So I have no idea what Paul's up to.
Surprisingly, Paul has a full-on marketing page where he is smiling like a motherfucker. He's grinning from ear to ear. There is an old Portland Alt Weekly interview where he says he's a professional gardener. I think that's a pretty long time ago because this new page says that he's a carpenter. He's like a pro carpenter, all pro he's wearing the polo shirt. And he is like, it says at the top, he's a seasoned pro every homeowner wants. It says when he's not building homes, he enjoys gardening, fishing, rocking out with his punk band, and working on old motorbikes. So that's why he tells the guys in the office, like, yeah, I rock out with my punk band. But yeah, that's what he's doing now. He's a carpenter.
Carl Ogg played bass. Carl was in a band around the same time as His Heroes Gone called Man with Gun Lives Here. That's a great name for a band. Yeah. He's also in Damalia, which is they made more recent music, not super recent, but they were making stuff, pretty later on. Carl is what I assume an accomplished artist. He did the cover of this 7-inch. He did the cover of 15 Counts of Arson. I don't know if he did the later stuff because that doesn't look like his style, but yeah, he has a master's degree. He has all that stuff in art. So I assume his website doesn't look like he's making money, but I assume he's making money because his website is just like mostly like band, like, His Heroes Gone level bands, which is like, I don't think they're paying you, but like, but I assume he probably makes some money doing art.
He has a Square gig. As the exhibitions installation manager at the New York Public Library. Okay. Which sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like that you get to walk past the Ghostbuster lions every day. That probably rocks. That's probably good. But yeah, he's like, he lists himself as a professional artist but it does look like he draws and paints and designs. Like he did some Nightfell stuff. So that's pretty recent. And he's done some other bands. And he did like I guess I would call them the more well-known. Well, maybe not the more well-known, but they come to mind quickly for me. Those His Heroes Gone covers look goofier. Yep. So I think of them more immediately. And he stealth lists his bands on his LinkedIn, which is very petty. I like that. Like he just puts the initial up on the top. It's summer. He puts the initials of his band. So if you know, you know.
Lastly is Pat Davis, who played the other guitar and did backup vocals. He's the only guy pieced out of His Heroes Gone and would be later replaced by Yannick, who was the other guy from Tragedy. But Pat I think it was more no, I guess it was still old. He was in a band called Hell Thrasher that Carl did the cover art for. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was pretty recent, 2017, and then they did another record in 2020, so it's fairly recent. It's hard to look up somebody named Pat Davis, and to prove my point of the only having so much internet these days that I said at the beginning of the show, if you search Pat Davis, His Heroes Gone, or Pat Davis, anything connecting him to hardcore or anything like that, the Google AI will tell you that Pat Davis is the same Pat Davis that was a YouTube gamer that died a few years ago, who was like a quadruple amputee or some weird shit. Yeah. And I was like, this is too crazy to be true. And I actually hunted for it. I was like, if this is true, if the guy from His Heroes Gone became like a professional gamer, that would be fucking insane.
Yeah.
No, I did find like a semi interview with him from like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I guess probably when this Hell Thrasher record was new. And all I could glean from that was that he still hates the government and everything. So he didn't become like a Trump guy or anything, and he wasn't never a professional gamer as far as I could tell.
Well, we haven't had a Kiss guy in a while, so we got one. Pat does post cool images of Ace Frehley once in a while, so he's a Kiss guy. Ultimately, Pat also posts AI art of himself as a badass Viking warrior, so I just closed the tab. So it's like
maybe he likes the government now.
I don't think he's sketchy. I think he just likes AI art of himself as a cool warrior. But sorry, Pat, I closed your tab once I saw you were doing that stuff.
That's not what a guy that hates the government would do. Yeah. So hopefully,
the government wants AI farms everywhere, dude. Don't give them your Viking art to spur them on.
Hopefully, he didn't have a change of heart since 2017, and hopefully he's just old.
He posted one Trump thing, but I'm pretty sure it was very low key. But it was when Trump was having a good time driving that truck ages ago. Remember, he was like honking the horn and being a dipshit. I'm pretty sure they were making fun of him. So I think he's on the right side.
In that interview, he specifically says, "I hate Trump." So hopefully
confirmed.
Yeah. So hopefully that didn't change. Hopefully, after the second election, he wasn't like, oh, maybe this is Trump. Maybe he's a good guy after all.
Wait a second. With all this AI, I can make myself look like a cool Viking. This is great.
Hopefully he's still down for the cause. But Yes, that is His Hair Was Gone. This record was, of course, on Prank Records, which must be nice where you're just like immediately hitting it out of the park where they're like, this is so good. Your first record's going to be on Prank Records. And here we go. We've talked about Prank Records to death at this point, so I don't think I really need to go over it. Just listen to any of the other episodes we've talked about Prank Records on, but, obviously very influential record label that started in the mid-90s and is still going in some form to this day. And they put out a lot of loud, angry music, and we've covered some of it. We honestly haven't covered a lot of the bigger bands on this, but we did 1332 and some other bands. Word Salad,
El Dopa
is 1332.
Oh yeah.
I still want to do Dead and Gone. Maybe Dead and Gone has TV. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's the first ever. So yeah, maybe maybe someday I'll actually get to doing Dead and Gone now that we broke all the rules. But yeah, Prank Records. It's a landmark record label. I need to tell you nothing about it.
Yeah, there wasn't much I could think of to talk about again, but I did see like towards the end of their. I was like, well, what are they doing now? And I'm scrolling down and I'm seeing Septic Death. I'm like, come on, Septic Death. And most of it's re-releases, but they did a joint release with Pussmort for something newer. Like it's some Japanese word. I closed the tab, so I don't have it, but it's some Japanese word and it has like a cockroach on the cover. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's 2017. They put out a Septic Death record. I thought that band was fully done in the 80s. And I don't hear much about Pusshead these days. Like he doesn't seem to update his social media. I don't think he really cares about the internet that much, as far as I know. I guess maybe I'm just out of touch. Maybe he's got some podcast somewhere I don't know about or whatever. But every few years I think about Pusshead. What's he up to now? So that's today. Today I'm thinking about Pusshead. But no, yeah, it's just a discography. All it is it's yet another Septic Death discography, but it's got all new Pusshead art. So that's odd. Not as odd as a full reunion would have been, but it's pretty actually weird. So we talked about this label a lot. This is a stacked and packed label. Tons of great bands. I think I don't know how many bands we've done. Probably four Prank Records already.
Yeah.
And have we liked them all? I feel like we've liked every single one of them.
Yeah. They don't put out garbage. So
yeah, they don't put out shit. God don't make shit. So here's hoping we can keep the streak going today. I don't know. This band, I'm not sure. I heard a lot of stuff about this band. But yeah, apparently I gave El Dopa a full 10. Yeah. So today's band has a lot to live up to. I don't know if they can make it or not.
So now we can get this record out onto a tray. Nice. I've moving on to the THC drinks.
Nice.
Wavy for the Patreon we record after this, but now I should be fine. So the cover of this is again Carl Ogg's painting. As much as I've loved the 15 Counts of Arson painting throughout my life, I've always been kind of indifferent and indecisive about the 7-inch painting because it's weird. They were really like workshopping logos at this point, and this was not it. The His Hair Has Gone logo, like they tried to do some kind of like weird, I don't know, like sort of Japanese hardcore, sort of death metal, sort of thrash metal type of logo, and it just, I don't know, it's kind of a mess. It doesn't look good. The painting, I don't know, it's just always been like, what's fuck's going on here? It looks like there's the Men in Black are in like a doorway, and they're watching somebody sleep. And, maybe it's an alien, maybe it's the government coming after somebody to take all of their things. So I still don't know how I feel about this. It's cool. Like I like that they have like a actual painted record cover that they did themselves. So that's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, I still have no real opinions whether if I hate or like the painting. And then the back cover gets a little more kind of 1996 kind of stock, where it's just like His Hair Was Gone in like a bloody typewriter font, and that's what all the song titles and everything are in. Splattery, bloody. There's a guy with a hammer silhouetted in the background. It's kind of just, typical of 1996. The lyric page is in the same kind of a broken, distorted font. It's not the same one, but it's a different one. They just had a font package of all these distressed fonts, and they were like, this is what we feel like. We feel like we're distressed, so we're going to use these. Then as another insert,
Yeah.
And I find this kind of funny because I think this might have been like the same kind of deal in 15 Counts, but I haven't opened that record in a very long time. But they list the band guys, and they have like funny names for what they do. So Todd is guitar and growl, Paul is skins, Pat is guitar eruption, and Carl is bass agony. You do that stuff when you're jokesters, but his Hero Is Gone is not a real jokey band. They're kind of like a miserable, serious band to me. They always have been.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird that they would do Paul on the Skins. So I kind of like that. I don't know if that's just youthful exuberance, or they just thought it was really funny to say stuff like that. But some people might not think that's a joke, though. I'm old and mature, and I know that's a joke. But some people might just think you're a dickhead. So you gotta kind of straddle that line, especially when you're a very serious band. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough thing. The other side of that is like, I think this is a real wall that says Superman damn fool on it.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
Very bad graffiti. It's pretty good. It has when it was recorded. Yeah, 1996. It says it right there. It's true. That has their address, and it says selfishness may keep your hands clean, but what of your heart? That's one to grow on right there. You really think about that one. The record itself, this is a gray version, and gray marble. It's kind of just a record. It has a close-up picture of one of the guy's faces and the song titles, and the other side is a picture of a guitar torso, some guitar torso. No, I guess it's just a guitar. It's not a torso. But yeah, I mean, Fool's Gold isn't really like sparking much joy either for me, but I think this is kind of their weakest record layout. Yeah. But it's not like. It's not bad. I'm sure there are people out there that absolutely love this painting. I'm not one of them. I always thought it was just kind of weird and not really suitable. And I've always hated that logo. But yeah, I mean, it just looks like a record from 1996. It doesn't look like something that's about to blow your mind, unfortunately. But it is just a 1996 record layout.
So if you're a young artist, there will come a day when your art teacher will break out the black paper and chalk pastels, and you will realize that you can draw the Dave McKean style Joker really quickly. No time. You can make a Joker in no time. You can't draw like the Brian Bolland Joker, but you could do the Lee Bermejo Joker. You could do like Jock, who drew the one that turns into bats.
Yeah.
You could maybe do that with the big teeth. You could just start making Jokers very quickly, almost instantly. So black paper and like pastels will blow your mind when you're young. And I think this is a painting, but this is kind of the same sort of thing. It's like, it's like he probably started with black and then built up these sort of homely colors and homely values on top of it. It's got the look of just discovering black paper. And like maybe that day, like, oh, cool. Like, this is my first time doing it. It's not unskilled. Like, he can draw kind of, but like this, whoever did this, they feel like they know a lot about art and abstraction, but like the medium and the methods look a little overworked, a little smudgy. I said, whoever did this, we know it's Carl. It says right there. But, yeah, it's kind of like a homely painting. It's moody. And yeah, so the Men in Black, I thought the same thing, but they're also kind of like Boba Fett's or Rom Space Knights or like maybe MF Dooms or something like that. There's something about their faces very masky, and they showed up the guy in the bed is like Eddie from Iron Maiden or something like that. He's got this like his top of his head's been unscrewed or something, and he's in a tasteful small apartment just sleeping. They've shown up to ruin his evening. The logo looks almost like straw art, like when you blow ink around. It looks like maybe they wrote it in like bold ink and then blew the ink around with a straw to make these. These also make me feel like I'm looking at a cockroach. I don't know what it is about these letters, but they feel cockroachy. It's atrocious. It's bad. Inside is I'm surprised Mike didn't recognize the Psychopathic Records Hatchet Man in the background there. He's on loan. That's probably where all the budget went for this. You had to pay for that. But this is how you know that the sleeping Eddie from the cover is gonna have a bad day, because the Hatchet Man, he's up to no good. He's always up to no good. But yeah, this is a really bad typewriter font. It's really hammered. It's in full effect. But I from better or for worse, I licensed that to this branch of music. Like the American super crust scene, they can use the rec typewriter font. They have to. It's like I expect it. I demand it. But they broke out a pretty serious duh font eroded number for the song titles and lyrics. And I'll be honest, that looks like dog shit. That whole section looks, it's just really messy. It's really hard. But it looks too crisp, like the white on the black with that eroded font. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the erosion there. It looks. They use the same font elsewhere on this, and like on the label itself, and it actually does kind of look eroded because of the way that print is. I don't know. It's also that they put boxes around those words on the record itself, so that kind of looks cool. Like you use that shitty font, but you put those kind of like those like emo scratchy boxes around it. And yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine. And there's a threshold photo of, I'm guessing one of the members, probably Todd.
Yeah.
He's looking pissed. That's cool. Side B just has a guitar neck. Like it's somebody cool. Got a guitar on that side. I think it's
the bottom of Todd, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you could put these together and it's one photo probably. Yeah. But it's kind of weird because it's so contrasted that the frets, and this is his hero is gone. So for a second, I just thought it was another book of matches. Like, man, these guys put books of matches and nails and shit on everything. Staples. I thought it was something tough, but it's just a guitar. It's just frets. There's the insert is, four. It's the live shots with like, all the crust pun typography around it. The graffiti on the other side is funny. It says, it's not what it says. It says Superman damn fool. That's pretty funny. But it's in that same kind of like, remember in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he's wiping big hairy pussy off of the mirror? It's that same kind of like madman. Like he was in a hurry and had to get this up there, maybe in his own blood or poop or something. And then, it says it's recorded by Noah Landis, who's the guy from Neurosis. I guess I didn't know that. So there's a little pedigree to that. I think it's amazing and interesting that they managed to source some Kinko's paper that matches the yellow on the cover. Like it seems that there's some continuity there. That's a really unified piece. I wasn't expecting all that unity from these guys. It's pretty homely all in all. I wouldn't say this is my favorite layout, really.
No. Okay, so now we can get into the music, and we have decided to go track by track on this 8-track record, but luckily a lot of these songs are like 4 seconds long, so I don't have like a ton of notes, but here we go. So the first track on side A is called Epidemic. Starts off with some somber piano music played by Todd, but it's really weird here because it sounds like they taped it off the TV or something. It's like it's real distant. It's like they had a tape and they held a microphone up to the tape to get this. Like I guess they didn't have a piano in the studio, so he had to do this at home and they had to dub it over or something. But So I was immediately like, oh man, this is going to be the worst record rip ever. But luckily, that's just the sample. Although the record rip I use sounds like a real crappy record, and if I had owned this is what my copy would sound like too. So I'm glad I did a good job, because this is very authentic to me. Although it has these long pauses in between songs, that kind of ruins it. But either way, I like the crappiness of the actual record. Anyway, the song, it starts off with the classic "His Hero's Gone" huge intro into some sad guitar and bass plucking until it gets really heavy again. Although usually the "His Hero's Gone" MO is to start just going super fast after that, but this is actually like slow, super slow and stompy, even kind of doomy a little. It's not full blazing "His Hero's Gone" yet that people would come to know and love. You can even kind of groove to this. You could do a little groove to this. It also, it's fucking heavy as hell, obviously, especially for 1996. It sounds good. Like, it doesn't sound as good as their later stuff, but you could tell they're working it out here. And this song actually ends with Todd screaming "Epidemic," which is master level songwriting when you end your song with the song title. So we're off to a good start.
Yeah, I would think the beginning makes me think of like the scenes in Purple Rain where the dad's playing the piano. So like this, so the shitty drunk dad. That's the intro of this. I kind of feel like this is a why bother kind of episode. Like we can't do any comedy here at all. Like there's nothing we could do with this. It's like that's the problem with going with these A-lister records. It's like I need some meat on the bone to work with, but this is just, but like within seconds of track one, it's amazing. It's just like, it's amazing. These guys, basically I don't know if they invented it, but they more or less popularized, using the PV 160, like these weird PV amps that just get this, they normally suck, but they found a button on the back or something, or they maybe stuck a fork in it or something, and you've taken it to the final frontiers of PV capability. And there's later, obviously everyone uses the 5150 and the 6505 later, and I think they do too. But at the time, I think they were using those PV 160 things or whatever. And it's that stadium crust in a box. You turn that thing on, you run a pedal into it. It's like, oh wow, I sound like tragedy already. It's just right there. Right at the beginning, they do this thick, disgusting intro riff and all these doomy things. And there's all these wild atmospheric layers, all this like feedbacky, awesome shit going on. And then Todd starts screaming. And Todd is how you hope you sound. Yes. Like when you start screaming for a band, you're like, oh, I bet this sounds awesome. And you listen back to the tape and you're like, motherfucker, this sucks. You don't sound like him. Keeper. You sound like Brothers Keeper. You sound like Rick to life on that video. Yeah. You don't sound like Todd. Nobody does.
Yeah.
We're just assuming our throats will have our backs, but they don't. So yeah, hey, one guy gets to sound like this. It's amazing. And it's right there on track one, day one. They're already sounding this good. Yeah. I
didn't write that down, but his vocals are like, they're pretty crazy for a human being to sound like that. And the only thing I can compare it to is on their first LP, Madball. Freddie's vocals are like that same sort of like comic book level gruffness that no one could achieve. And that was studio trickery or something, because he never sounded like that again. It was only on that one record. I still don't know what he did. I still don't know what they did in the studio to make him sound like that. But that's why that's the best New York hardcore record, because he sounds just so mean. And as an aside, I did think about doing the first Madball 7-inch for our little Hall of Fame episodes, but that 7-inch kind of sucks, and it's like 37 10-second songs, and I don't think it's like really sounds like Madball at all, so we're going to skip that one. But
I think he probably sang through like a piece of wax paper over a comb, and that's how they got there. But yeah, like even when Todd does those long yells, there's another, I don't know what song it is, but there's one where he just goes like, and he's got perfect rasp for the whole time he's yelling. That doesn't happen in anybody else's neck in the world. Like once you start yelling, your neck, your throat, your vocal cords give up after a while and stop rasping, and he just keeps going. It's like he's got like a porcupine in his neck or something like that. It doesn't make any sense.
Next up is the track Head Count. Here we get the real Blazing Spirits influenced His Hero's Gone. I think I mentioned this, but 4 or 5 years ago in the proto version of First 7-Inch Club, I finally listened to the band Bastard and kind of cracked the code of His Hero's Gone, that they were just into Japanese hardcore when I was still, listening to fucking Earth Crisis, and they were already on that. So maybe if I had listened to Bastard in 1996, like His Hero's Gone, I wouldn't have found His Hero's Gone as impressive. But yeah, this is more of the His Hero's Gone sound that people love. This is just a really ugly and heavy and short song, and I like that. I like keeping it short and heavy and ugly.
Yeah, it's okay that they do this. Like, they could take a break on every other track if they need to. I know you get winded making all that doom, but they I don't know if it's on every record. I can't think of if they do on every record, but most of their records, I think, like, open the gates of hell on track 1. Yeah. And that's fucking exhausting. So track 2, you got to retreat to a D beat for a little bit, but it's still really sick. It's still really heavy and thick. It still has that sound. And of course the vocals are still awesome. And then right at the end, they're like, but wait, there's more. And they make 10 seconds of like dual vocal mayhem. So it's, still really good.
Next up is T-0. This is another very quick one. I do like, because all of the quick songs, there's I think 4 of these songs, at least 4 of these songs are pretty quick. I think a lesser band would be like, oh, we have this cool part, so let's write a whole song around it. Not His Hero's Gone. They're like, we have this cool part. That's a song. That's it. Just that part.
All done.
And that's perfect. More bands should take after this record and be like, well, we only have one cool part. Let's not put a bunch of noodle dick shit around it. Let's just do that part and call the song. And that's what they do here. I'm starting to notice, though, I do think one of the lesser degrees of I guess perfection that they would reach on their other records here is that the backups on this record do sound a bit wimpier than they do on future records. So they didn't work out the backups yet, but they're not like wimpy. They're just like a little wimpier than what the future backups would be.
Yeah, this song in particular had so much to say that there's extra lyrics on the sheet. There's lyrics on the sheet that I don't think made it to the song. I couldn't tell, but they don't seem to be in the song. So this is kind of between two motifs because it's still fast and furious, like the D beat stuff, but it has all those like monolithic abstract noise parts too, and big accents and the cool dual vocals. And there's no consensus between these vocalists. I don't know, like, who is it? You said it's, who's singing the back vocals? Pat. So it's Pat. Yeah. He makes his own rules. He comes in when he wants to. He chimes in when he feels like it. Sometimes he's on the beat. Sometimes he's just singing a totally different song. It's his world. I like it though. It's very abstract.
Next one. This one, two. Okay, this is closing out side A, is Unvisited Grave. is a hard ass song title, man. If I was in any danger of ever starting a band again, Unvisited Grave would be the name. Just right there. That I already got the name figured out. I could already start working on the logo because that is it's a hard name.
Yep.
You do get a lot of bass on the song, and that's another, I think, lesser degree of perfectionism. Is that I don't think they haven't mastered the His Hero's Gone gross bass sound yet. It still sounds like it's sort of gross, but it doesn't sound as like scary as it would. That is one of the lesser moments of this. But hey, what do you know? This is another fast blazing one, so it's over pretty quick.
Yeah, this one has some tricks. This one has like drum solos and bass solos and like lots of extra vocals. And it's where I start, at least through the way I was listening to it. It seems like the production sucks a little bit more than I thought at first.
Oh yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
Like it's part of the sound, I think. But it's like clipping and peaking and like distorted and just woofed out. And it's, there's parts of this where it sounds like I accidentally plugged into the washing machine outlet, like with my stereo, and I'm destroying my things. But you can really hear how the drums are in their own world of EQ. They're like a totally different kind of EQ, and the bass is like, it adds to the heavy parts, but it's just they just leave it out to die in the mix. It's doing its own thing. And the guitars have all the low end. In this record, the guitars, like they put all the low end in these guitars, and the volume is just set to red. It's just like make those lights flash, and the meters are just nonstop. That's kind of what this sounds like. I like it. But actually later on when I played it, I put it on in the stereo in the store because I had to like do the last couple songs, and I was like, oh, it's way better on a real stereo. So if you're having trouble, go out and buy something from the 70s to listen to this on.
Flip it over to side B, and the first track on side B is Internally Bleeding. Starting off big and slow and doomy. These guys know how to start a side of a record. They're just like, we had to start off with this big scary song. This one does pick up a bit of speed. I do think, this one and track one on side A, this one really has it all. I think this has all of the elements of you want from His Hero's Gone. I don't think it's probably a controversial opinion to say Epidemic and Internally Bleeding, A1 and B1 are the two best songs on the record.
Yeah. The fun part of this song, this is the one where I guess I noticed it. This is where I could hear that I'm pretty sure there's a third singer. So I never got to see these guys live. So I'm working forensically here. I'm doing the Tam Should puzzle solving of figuring out how His Hero's Gone works from this record. So there's Todd, who's obvious. You can hear Todd, and there's, Pat's doing the kind of salacious good cop. Really, really messy and awesome. But there's also like this song has like a Todd bar and then a third guy who is like Todd too, but not as Todd as Todd.
Probably Paul, his brother.
It must be Paul. And I wonder what it's like for Paul. Like he's covering territory Todd can cover, but like half as good. So what's that like when you're in that band? How weird is it to be demonstrably the worst singer in your band, especially when one of them is just really good and maybe one of the best? There's nothing to, and like any other band, he would have been fine, but he's in a band with the best, the GOAT. So it's like, what are you gonna do? I'm glad we got a full on like doomy opener for side 2. It's good. It's like King Kong gates opening up for the second half of the record, the last half of the record. It sounds good.
I'm going to take a little aside here because in the intro, I do say we share our personal experiences. I did not share any of I shared a little of my personal experiences, but I do want to mention I did get to see His Heroes Gone a handful of times. I'm going to mention 2 of those times. One of those times I think I did talk about on the show long ago, but it was, it was like a WRPI festival or something. There was some show in Albany. This is before I lived there. And it was like His Heroes Gone. Section 8 was supposed to play, but I don't think they did. Wrath played. That band Days Gone that we talked about on the show, and that's why I brought it up, played. It was like 8 bands. I think maybe even Blood Has Been Shed played. It was like this legendary show. And me and my friend Jay were like, oh shit, His Heroes Gone is playing. We got to go to that. And I obviously didn't have a car. Maybe Jay didn't have a car either. He just didn't want to drive, so we took the bus to Albany, which you can do from New York. It's not like we're like, like Guns N' Roses getting on the bus to take like a 37-hour trip or anything. It's a pretty quick trip. But the same day as that festival, Fish was playing the Pepsi Arena.
Wow.
So we get to the bus station, Penn Station, or is it Penn Station? Whatever. I'm forgetting all my New York history now, but the Greyhound, whatever the bus station is in New York City, and the line is insane. It's all dirty hippies. It's just a whole entire line of dirty hippies, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And somehow we deduced that Fish was playing, and we're just like, holy shit, if we even get on the bus, we are gonna be, dick to asshole with all of these all of these dirty, smelly, gross white person dreadlock hippies, and this is gonna suck. And so we're in the line, and it gets up to us. We're the next 2 in line, and the guy's like, hold on a second. And we're like, fuck, this, like, we're not going to go. We're going to be stuck here. And the guy's like, we have to call a different bus to pick up you guys. And so they got a second bus, and it was just us. And I think like 3 other hippies. And we got like a chauffeured limo ride basically to Albany to go see His Heroes Gone, and it was sweet. And another time I saw them was, I think, when Monuments to Thieves came out. Maybe it's when the Plot Thickens came out. Maybe it's Plot Thickens, but this was in Connecticut. It was at the Tune-In. I forget who else was on the show, but they were obviously headlining, but like they weren't there yet. Like they're like bands were playing and they weren't there yet, and we're just like, oh man, they're not going to show up. And then this fucking disgusting van just blazes down the street of where Tune-In was, which was like not a traffic street. It was just like kind of a side, almost alley street. So they just stop, and it's His Heroes Gone, and they all get out of their van, and they all look like pig pens. They just like all have these dust clouds around them, and they just pull out a screen press right there and start screen printing shirts, like right in the street alley. Yeah. And they're just selling them while they're pressing them. And it's just like a cartoon scene. Like we're all just holding our cash in our hands, like, oh, I want one. Yeah. And I got one, and it was literally just screen. So by the time I got it home, it was just all smudged. It was just fucking smudged. And I was like, oh fuck. And I remember I ended up trading it to this dude I knew in California. Who was in he was in a band like tangentially that we covered at some point. But anyways, and like I sent it to him, and he's like, what the fuck, man? This shirt's all smudged. And I was just like, sorry. And I think I ended up having to trade him something else in return. But either way, seeing His Heroes Gone is great. Either way. Okay, anyways. Next track is called Richter. I didn't really notice this when I wrote the note down, but Richter is a proper name for this song because this sounds just like a gross earthquake. The whole song just sounds like the floor is shaking underneath you. So they picked a great name for this track. I also haven't given up any props to the drummer. I love that the drummer is always down to just beat the shit out of his drums. He's just fucking hammering these drums. He must break so many sticks. He's just fucking hammering the shit out of these drums. This whole thing, this is a highlight for him. But otherwise, this is another short one. It's a very short earthquake, and then it ends.
Yeah, this one's peppy. It spends most of the song in that like restless his hero is gone beat that they use a lot. That like they're just doing fills and never getting to the main part. We're friends with a his hero is gone influenced band, and one of the people I've played in many bands with, Aaron, our friend Aaron, he was playing that drum beat a lot. I'm like, oh, this almost sounds like I'm listening to Aaron on this record, and it's cool. It's interesting. I'm still learning, man. I'm 300 years old, still learning. And then at the end, it switches to like a Franz Ferdinand riff. It's like,
it's a real weird riff. There's some like,
go ahead.
There are some moments of this record where they kind of like, they were also listening to victory bands or something else too at this time. You could tell they probably won't admit it now, but you could tell they have some skeletons in their closet as far as influences go.
That's cool though, because it's like it's the kind of power move you can flex if you're inventing a genre. Like we're making this up. It's got a Franz Ferdinand part. That's part of the genre now.
Next track is called "Marry and Reproduce." This starts off with a little spookiness, little spooky guitar playing that His Hero's Gone would do later on, but immediately gets pretty heavy. But then it gets into the most proper hardcore circle moshing, circle pit part that His Hero's Gone does. There's even like a brief moment where you could reenact the Sean Duty basement photo and just hold your bear in the air and splash it all over the place while everybody's circle pit moshing and look grumpy in the corner. But then it just like it just gets scary and stompy for the real moshers.
Yeah.
So this song just has a buffet of different types of moshing, and I appreciate that from this type.
I thought for sure after the spooky part it was going to go into one of those like cowboy D-beat parts, where like the one guitar rings out while the other does like the Motorhead riff, like the Ghost Riders in the Sky D-beat stuff. No, it's just normal. It goes into a very furious D-beat part, still like something much more exciting. But I'm impressed with that final slam. They go into real like end of the world tritones, multi-layered screaming. Like whoa, slow down, guys! You got a whole track left. You know, you got to leave some in the tank. I can't wait to hear what the real ending is. If this is what you guys thought was okay for the second to last track.
Yeah, I think Tragedy would have gone into that Motorhead part. That's where they out vetoed Todd. They were like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Don't do that hippie shit.
So the final track is called The End Result. very fitting name. Hey, this kind of sounds like Dead Guy. This sounds like Dead Guy in the beginning.
Yeah.
This is pretty chaotic, even for His Hero's Gone. It doesn't sound like the His Hero's Gone brand of chaotic. Like, they are legitimately about to get signed to Death Wish Records with this track. It's lucky this track is very short and kind of an outlier in their discography, because they're very close to having traditional tattoo artwork on their album cover. But luckily, it's very short and no one remembers the song. And then it ends with more somber Todd music, piano playing that was recorded from the TV.
Yes, the last song, and they call it The End Result. That's cute. That's really cute, guys. I think they should have swapped these last two songs. I think this is the most tense song and the most intense song on the record. Probably, it sounds like hulking up. Like, this sounds like someone's starting to lose their shit, but like the first part where you're clenching your hands and like, but it's very frantic. It's got the whirlwind, frantic stuff going on. The fellas exchange who gets to rant over which section. It's pretty good. You get to hear a lot of that stuff. But to have this be the build up to the prior song would have been heroic. It would have been like sensible and heroic.
I agree. And there you have it. There's His Hero's Gone's The Dead of Night in 8 Movements on Prank Records from 1996. At the end of this, I like to do a little rating system where I say either throw it in the trash, listen to it on streaming, buy it in the bargain bin, buy it for full price, or buy it for collector's prices. I believe this is a bona fide collector's prices record. I don't think you're getting this for under $25 these days. If you guys don't know, if you just listen to this whole episode and you are actually new to His Hero's Gone, they're still one of those bands that aren't really on the internet. They're like, I think sometimes Monuments to Thieves is sometimes on streaming. Yeah. But otherwise they're like, 15 Counts and this and any of their other shit is not really on the internet yet. I'm sure they're going to get the first 7-inch Club influence. And immediately tomorrow, we're gonna wake up and see His Hero's Gone discography on streaming services for the first time ever, or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Whoa, hey.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there's some wild prices. There's like one reasonable person charging $20 for this, and then everybody else is like 50, 60, 40. So, so if you get this for 20, you're actually getting a steal. This one's really hard for me to grade because I think in any other capacity, music-wise, this is a perfect record. So it's hard to not go collector's prices, but listening to this in backwards order, I mean, I don't know every single His Hero's Gone 7-inch by heart, but I think this is, one of their weaker records, and that's not like a bad thing. It's just like everything they did after this was so much better that it's hard to be like, this is a classic. But personally, in my heart, this is only a full price record. But I think, in the grand scheme of things, this is obviously worth the collector prices that it garners. I think this basically started a genre. I don't know if everybody would agree with us with that statement, but I think that, like, if it didn't start the genre, at least popularized, like, playing this type of music. I had never heard anything that sounded like this in America, I'll say, just for all those other older people that were somehow already into Bastard in the 90s. But this is, the first thing like I've heard like this in America. So I do think this is worth the collector's prices, but I do still think this is one of their weaker releases.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't mention this before, but I was not a fan of this band in real time at all. Not even a little bit. I didn't listen to them for a while, and largely because of the band name. And so I thought maybe you can clear this up for me. I could have sworn that one of the records had a newspaper clipping in it that was like the source of the band name. And I went and looked through all the Discogs layouts and stuff, and I didn't see it. So either I made it up, but like prior to doing that research, I would have sworn with complete certainty that I had like a His Hero's Gone record at some point, and that it had like a His Hero's Gone, like an article where like some kid was watching a fire, like people being dragged out of a fire, something like that. So I don't know. Maybe I made it up, but I fucking hated this band name. When I first heard it, I was like, man, the emo kids have gone too far with this shit. Like, His Hero's Gone. Like cause I started hearing about them around the same time, I think, that band started putting like pretty goth girls on their covers and naming things like Her Last Breath, and she wants,
Yeah.
She wants abortions. I don't know. She wants something. And that's where
there was a band at the same time called My Hero Died Today. So
yeah. And I don't even remember how long it took me to fix that. Like a very long time. I think maybe when I started hanging out with like Aaron and stuff. Yeah. And his I mentioned the name before, but our friend Aaron was in a band called Lariat, who sounds in the same wavelength as His Hero Is Gone. So it's pretty fucking late for me to get into this band. And then, of course, at the time I sort of squashed them in with Backstabbers because they both had the same amp sound. They both were using the PVs to get that like super slabby, super distortion. And so I thought, oh yeah, there's a whole genre of all these guys using the PVs. I think it was just them. I think it was just these two bands, but I smushed it into, and I treated it like it was some boring trend and sort of disregarded it. Like, oh yeah, all those fucking PV bands, that's just some bullshit or whatever. But I like Backstabbers, so I don't know why I did that. So finding out that there was another band that was like in the same vein as them, but better and earlier, for some reason, I just kept them at arm's length. It took me a while. And, I think on this record, they don't have the PVs quite dialed in yet because, put on Monuments of Thieves. The overwhelming bass tone on that record is bizarrely great. And they don't have it here yet, but quite a bit of what is in the later soup is here. Like quite a bit of His Hero Is Gone is already here. They just landed on Earth ready to be His Hero Is Gone. And the version of metal that they developed is pretty unique. I can't even really describe like what's metal about His Hero Is Gone. It is, but it's like, it doesn't sound like anything else. Like I watched this riff worship. There's like three dorks that talk about, I don't know if they're listeners. Sorry guys. But if, they did all the research for us. So I guess like according to them, all of His Hero Is Gone worked together at like a punk popular donut shop in Texas or whatever. And they all, listened to kind of weirder stuff. Like they were like, reading the Pusshead column and Thrasher and listening to all that weird hardcore and Japanese hardcore and stuff. And they like Neurosis and they liked, thrash metal and stuff. But then all the southern sludge bands like Buzzoven and stuff were coming through and they liked those bands earlier than probably other people. And then they like Bolt Thrower, period. They don't mention any other death metal bands, just Bolt Thrower. That's the band they like. That sounds about right. So like they missed all the normal metal resources. They skipped Maiden, they skipped Anthrax and Cannibal Corpse. They're like reverse engineering metal from Buzzoven and Bolt Thrower. So that's how this happens. That's how you end up in a weird band like this. Like I said, I can't even itemize what's weird about them, but it is weird. The riffs are really dense. Even when they're doing like the single string, like metal stuff, it still sounds like, it's like super, it's like they're playing a bridge cable instead of a guitar string or something like that. It's really heavy. And apparently they just like we're listening to the record. They had it dialed in. They formed a whole genre. That's the first 30 seconds of the Acme album. And they made it come to life on day one. I'd love to know how. I'd love to know. I would like to go back into, that's what I'll use my time lens for. I'm going to go back to the early His Hero Is Gone practice. I want to see how many shitty Black Flag covers and Discharge covers it took before Epidemic tumbled out. Hey, I got an idea. Let's play this song. So if you like anything heavy, you should listen to this. I don't know of any distorted guitar fan who couldn't benefit from the influence of this record if you don't have it yet. You got to and obviously listen to the later stuff. On the Tin Fish scale, it's like probably an 11. Cover art is not my thing, but the record is so intriguing and good that it's like it forms like a hard disk of extra credit. There's like a hard layer of extra credit around it. And this is odd for I think both of us. I don't know, maybe not as much for Mike, but I think that I like how serious they are. Like we make fun of other bands who are just in the maximum intensity and the maximum seriousness and everything's dialed up to 9,000. There's something about this genre that needs it. Like I need the main guy to be just one of those black jeans, black sneakers guy who just his whole personality is I don't smile. I don't smile for photos. I don't smile for nothing. That's how this shit works. That's how this game works. You need that guy in the band. So this record gets like a 40 out of 10.
There you have it. There's His Hero's Gone's not Monuments to Thieves. But the other one, it's their first 7-inch.
Eight movements of
8 movements. Yeah. We're already closed out the Discogs page, unfortunately. Orchestral maneuvers in the dark is what it's actually called. But yeah, for 1996 on Frank Records. Next week we're going to be doing something a little different. Doing something from the opposite end of the spectrum of the 90s.
Actually, orchestral maneuvers in the dark.
Yes,
I have a lot of those 7 inches in my store.
Yep. Gonna really test the waters next week and see what kind of creeps come out of the holes in the ground to listen to the next episode. But until then, Scott, do you have any last words?
I did quickly. I know Mike did a little research. I did as well. Try to find out more about Les Chocolatiers.
Oh yeah.
The spot. I couldn't find much. There is, if you look around, there is some stuff about when they built both locations in the 70s and the 80s, and that the actual story you read, I'm pretty sure the words they use is gentrification. Like they were during the attempt to gentrify Lark Street, the Lark Street area of Albany, the Chocolatier was brought in as like a shock troop to make the area instantly a lot more white in a hurry. So that's why they were giving away free all you can eat chocolate and champagne. Like perfect. That's like a raid roach trap to bring in white people or something like that. Yeah. So I'm guessing that, and then they did the same thing in Schenectady. I think Schenectady was maybe like too resistant to that move, so it didn't last very long. But I can't find anything else about it. So that's still the mission for you guys. If you're a local who's older than us, and you remember, getting sick eating all you can eat chocolate for $10 and drinking a lot of champagne, which would give me a headache, but I would still do it. Let me know more about it.
Yeah, last week when you gave me the address and I said, "Oh, that's a good area," I don't know what I was thinking because it was a terrible area in the 90s even. So. I can't even imagine what it was like in the 80s, but yeah, the only thing I found, I know this dude who has he has like a newspaper archives access, and he found like an old Times Union blurb, and it just basically talks about the place like it's a real chocolate place. So I think they only turned into a sex club to get those white people in there and try their wares, and then they go back to a regular chocolate place during the day or something. But still a very weird ad.
That could have been the Schenectady part. It's like, chocolate and champagne work down on Lark Street, but it's not working in Schenectady. So let's also let's have it's a smoking club. It's a hookah den. It's also a sex parlor. It's everything.
Also, of course, go subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/first7inch club, and you get a couple new episodes a month and all that stuff. But until next week, fuck Charlie Daniels.
Fuck Charlie Daniels.
Central Monday morning rail. There are 15 cars and 15 restless riders. 3 conductors and 25 sacks of mail. They're all out on the southbound Odyssey, and the train pulls out of Kankakee, rolls past the houses, farms and fields, passing towns that have no name, and freight yards full of old black men, and the graveyards of rusted automobiles. Good morning, America, how are you? Saying, don't you know me, I'm your native son. Yes, I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans, and I'll be gone 500 miles when day is done. And I was dealing cards with the old men in the club car, and it's penny a point, there ain't no one keeping score. Won't you pass that paper bag that holds that bottle? You can feel the wheels grumbling through the floor, and the songs of Pullman porters, the sons of engineers, they ride the father's magic carpet made of steam, and mothers with safe, go